I'm supposed to say I am. So I am Nabia, and you're welcome to ZED Decor Live. ZED Decor Live is the only furnishing show across the country that intentionally discusses everything that has to do with interior furnishing, has to do with construction, and has to do with interior design. And it's by no mistake that we have in-house today a very qualified interior designer. But she's a lawyer, but we'll start with that, but we're not starting yet. I'm just trying to let you know that we bring only the best. We source for only the best people who understand the topic. So when she begins to talk proper, you see what I'm talking about. But once again, you're welcome. We're going to start off with a spot of music. I will come back, I'll do a little DIY, and then I'll introduce my guest proper. She's Esquire O'Shea. You, when we were wearing the gown, where were you? Our spot of music.
Zadadat. Let's take it back to yesterday. Before the war, before the fights. You know they give me no funny replies. But you they send me memes for Insta. Young Kasa, you know they bad. And say me fry, you know they answer. Why they say you know they need me? Why they treat me like a stranger? Girl, when I'm in love with you, and I don't want nobody. I don't want nobody. Girl, I don't want nobody. I love the things you do. See, I don't want nobody. I don't want nobody. So I don't want nobody. And I don't wanna live a day without you. If you joke, just tell me, say you just dey play. Say I don't wanna live a day without you. If you say I do some things, I just go change.
ZED 101.9 FM.
Let's take it back to yesterday. When you they call me one and only. When you they come see me for Lungu. Who go love you like I love you? Why you they treat me like a stranger? Right now you know they care. Used to call the boy your baby. Man, I mean you told me do you. Girl, when I'm in love with you, and I don't want nobody. I don't want nobody. I don't want nobody. And I love the things you do. Girl, I don't want nobody. Me, I don't want nobody. Girl, I don't want nobody. And I don't wanna live a day without you. If you be joke, just tell me, say you just did play.
ZED 101.9
I don't
FM.
wanna live a day without you. If you say I do some things, I just go change. Oh yeah.
Okay, so if you just tuned in, this is ZED 101.9 FM, and this is ZED Decor Live. The first segment is here, and we're talking about what we have to do for ourselves, popularly called DIY. Today's DIY is basically recycling. I've gone into homes, offices, and seen dried pottery in lobby areas, in living areas. Some of us put them in our kitchens, but when it loses its fragrance or its essence, then we immediately want to go and throw it away and go and look for newer versions or newer things. But one way we are upcycling, we are recycling. So one way of keeping it all in is that always look for essential oil, right? As for pottery, it's supposed to be dry. It's supposed to be dry leaves, dry herbs, dry flowers, most importantly. So always look for essence oil, right? And these are normally found in shops or online where they sell candles or, where they sell candles and pottery and essence and all that. You find essential oil. Please take a bit. Buy what is fragrance to you, what you like, what works with your did I even say appetite? Not appetite. Your senses, your sense of smell. Buy that and just sprinkle a bit on the dry pottery. But what you should do is you can find mini bags, right? Nylon bags and just, take a bit of the potpourri, add the essential oil, and put some in your drawers of bedrooms, where you keep your socks, where you keep your little things that typically, if you don't wash, will have a bad smell, have an awful smell. You can put that in your main wardrobe, where your shirts, your linens are, your towels, and all of that. And you can, it's a convenient way to just recycle or upcycle, whilst you go and look for newer ones that have fresher scents, and put them in the places where you took the old stock from. So please don't be in a rush to throw your potpourri away like that, okay? And it's not called potpourri, it's called potpourri. All right. Okay. So, and we're not going to do a spot of music. I want us to use all the time that we have to put Crystal on the spot. So, my guest today is, do I call her Interior Crystal? No, I call her Esquire. I mean, it's the Esquire that makes me happy. It's the Esquire that makes me happy. So, you've seen special homes, right? ZED FM is in East Legon, but if you are going home, you're heading towards Oyarefa, heading towards Ayimensa, there is special homes. Now, this interior designer / furnisher / Esquire is, please let me say it to me, I like that one, is one of the main eyes, the main vision when it came to furnishing those homes. As I've always said, as for the people who build the spaces, they're building it for us, right? But it takes somebody with a different vision who understands what the space means for you, the person coming in. You, the person coming in, is either you as a single person, you as a married person, or you as a family man or family woman. So it takes somebody with that intentional look, intentional eye, to sit down and say, you know what? This is how the person will use the space. This is how I should curate the space. These are the kind of colors. We discussed colors this morning on the bright side. These are the kind of colors I should use for the space. And she will sit down, in this case it's a she, so she sat down, visualized it properly, and put everything in its place intentionally. So today we have Crystal. Crystal is coming to help us discuss everything that has to do with understanding or balancing style and practicality. But let me start by welcoming her first. Makasa Bibri. So, good afternoon, and
good
thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I know I stressed you on this one, but
oh no, it's fine. It's okay. It's okay.
I know I stressed you, but it's good stress. So let me let you relax first. How does your day start? What do you do? Typical. We wake up at what time? How does your day start?
My day typically starts quite early. Let's say 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. Depending on what time I slept the night before. And yes, I like to spend some time in quietness. So I will read my Bible, typically have my quiet time, do a bit of exercise, and then get ready for the day, get ready to head to the office. And then when I get to the office, do any paperwork or things that I need to do. And then if I have to be on site, if we're working on a project and I have to be on site, I like to have my meetings in the afternoon. So I like to maximize the morning time and do the things that I need to do, like the scheduling and all sorts of things. And then in the afternoon and stuff, I can go around and have meetings and site visits and stuff like that. So yeah, that's pretty much how my day goes. Come back to the office, wrap up, head home, and then I do my second shift. My second shift is things I'm doing for myself. So self-development, if I'm reading a book or I'm taking a course or, talking to friends and stuff like that. So that's typically how it goes. Yeah.
Wow. Let me still dial back. I don't want to heavy hit first. So interior design, how did it come to you? Because this is Ghana and I'm also in that space, and I know how difficult it is to make people understand that what we provide is an essential service.
Right.
You tell them you need an interior design, they look at you like, I can easily go and buy a table and chair. How did that come to you? Well,
I always say that it came to me as a form of a hobby. It started out as a hobby. I finished my first degree. I was waiting for my national service posting, and it was something I was doing. I'll typically do by myself. So even in my final year in university at Pentagon, I had a room to myself, so I decorated it nicely. And typically, I'd have friends coming over. We had group studies and meetings and stuff like that. So I was also an executive. And anytime people came into the space, they were like, oh, they really like my space. Where did I get this? Where did I get that? So, and then I went back home and I was still doing that with my space. So I've always loved, doing up my space. I've always loved, putting things here, fixing things here, wanting to change the bathroom and all of that. So that's how it really started in 2014. While I was waiting for my national service posting, I was just at home and I was like, you know what? I like doing this. Let me sell it as a service to other people. So I went ahead and registered my business, and then that's how it went. So registered it, and then started telling people this is what I do. I got, of course, people who knew me and like, oh yeah, this suits you, and then second skin basically. And then they gave me offers. I was able to execute, put up pictures, and that's how it continued to grow. Like once you execute a project beautifully, then you get more referrals, so it grows from there. So that's really how it started, from just something I just thought to do as a hobby, and then it became a business, and we've been doing it for the past 11 years.
I'm so happy you're still doing it. Don't stop.
Thank you.
Don't stop. I know how it is with the artisans. I know how it is on site. No, please, don't. If you stop, I'll look for a cake for you.
We're not stopping now. We're not stopping now.
I'll look for a cake for you. Okay. So the focus here, because that's what you've worked on, I can talk about it, is special gardens.
Right.
You got that blank picture or blank face. What went through your mind essentially when, like, okay, this is a blank space, what do I do? What was going through your mind? Okay,
so for designing the layout and the spaces for special gardens, there were a number of considerations, quite a number of considerations, right? Because we were designing their model homes. So the model home was supposed to get people to see or visualize what the space could become, what potential the space has. And usually it's a bit interesting because you are designing for hundreds of people. The model homes are going to, have so many walk-in visitors who are considering buying the properties, and they want to see the space and see how it looks like. So for that space, it was a number of things. It was just knowing that you're not designing for a single person or a single family, because typically if you're designing for a single family, you can ask them, okay, what are your preferences, what is your style? Or sometimes you can just have conversations with people and you can figure out their style, or just have, ask them a few questions and figure out their style. But the consideration was a bit different for the model home because we wanted to have something that had mass appeal.
I like that word.
Yes. Yeah. You wanted to have something that had mass appeal, but at the same time, something that was aesthetically pleasing. So mass appeal, aesthetically pleasing, but also not too niched down in a particular style. So whereas maybe you are picking a particular style that is very, somebody may come in and love it totally, but then somebody may walk in and say, what's this? I'm not feeling this, or I don't feel comfortable in this space, because that would have been a turn down for them, and then they wouldn't go ahead and buy the property. So those were the number of considerations. We entered the space, we had this blank canvas, and we're saying, what can we do to this space, or what can we do with this space that almost 99.9% of the people that walk in here are going to say, I love this, I want to buy this house. So, of course, we didn't want to do any colors that were too jarring to the eyes. We didn't want to do any colors that were too piercing. Of course, if you come into a space and maybe based on my preferences, let's say I like red and I put red on the walls and you don't like red, it's a total turn off for you, and that can affect the sales department, and we're not trying to do that. We're trying to bring as many sales as possible. So we kept it neutral, we kept it beige, gray, gray, just literally colors that are just very easy, calm on the eye. You enter the space and you're like, this feels like home, because that's what we're trying to achieve. We wanted you to see the space and visualize it and say that this is the kind of space I can live in, or this is how I want home to feel like. So it was supposed to feel like home, but a little bit more elevated, so a bit more aspirational. So you come into the space, you're like, this feels like home, and this could be my next home, much better than where I'm currently living. So those were the number of things, just making sure that it had mass appeal, keeping it calm and then making sure that it's converted into sales, in terms of the fact that people come into this space, they are not turned off by it, but it's not too niche down, and then they are willing to purchase properties.
Okay, so I really, you see, I was very quiet when you were talking, because I really wanted you to hit exactly what you hit. There's a problem we have in Accra. I don't live out anywhere. I live in Accra, so let me use Accra for Mofancheme, forgive me. But there's a problem we have in Accra, and I know you have seen it. You enter a space and you literally want to crawl out. What why? What is happening? You see, I can't find the words. What is it?
I guess we have to find some of those people and bring them into the studio and ask those questions. You know, that's the thing I was saying earlier about not being too niche down or not being stuck with a specific style, right? I believe that, speaking for these other people, speaking for these landlords and spaces, I believe what happens is people see what they like, or people see what is attractive to them as an individual. And if it's a space where they're going to be selling, or a number of properties they're going to be selling, they typically wouldn't consider, how does this affect the buyer?
Thank you.
So you have to consider your buyer profile or your ideal client and say, the ideal client that I am trying to attract with this property, would this style or would this type of furnishing or this type of layout that I am pushing for suits them? You know, there are certain things that we may not like in our part of the region or in our part of Ghana, or let's say just maybe in Ghana, for example, that you go just next door to Togo or Cote d'Ivoire and it's fantastic and it's perfect because it's based on their culture, based on their lifestyle, based on their preferences. That is what is appealing to them. So it's just a matter of, I believe, people not just doing that introspective work and saying that, who am I designing for and who am I trying to attract? And then,
If you just tuned, if you have missed, I'm very sorry, but on Sunday, this program will be repeated at 5, and you see the 18 minutes of goodness that Crystal has given us. This is ZED 101.9 FM, and this is ZED Decor Live. Crystal, let me go straight to the point. I've already got to the points, but let me go straight to the point here. There's this thing that when you go on Pinterest, you go on House, you go on Instagram, everybody, aesthetics, and the aesthetic, and the aesthetic. How do you understand that, and how do we balance that with functionality? So
aesthetic, in terms of the fact that people are saying this has to be aesthetically pleasing. Okay, so how do we balance that with functionality? I believe that is essentially the job of an interior designer. That's what we're coming to do, right? You always have to consider, what is this space going to be used for first? What is the function of the space? How are the people in the space going to interact in the space first? And then once you have laid the foundation, because the function or the functionality is the foundation. Then once you have laid the foundation... You make me happy. Once you have laid the foundation and you have, put the layout of maybe for a living room, for example, if it's a multi-family, then you're not putting in dainty furniture or single armchairs, because it doesn't work. Because if it's a family that are going to be sitting together and stuff like that, then you need to have more seating, or arrange the seating in such a way that it allows for conversation and closeness and all of that. So once you have laid down that foundation, then you can decide on the aesthetics. And even in deciding on the aesthetics, you should build on the functionality, on the function of the space, in terms of the fact that you are not saying, okay, this is how you're going to use the space. You do a layout, and then you end up putting maybe decor pieces or things that are going to be breakables or going to obstruct the flow of the space. So what do I mean by this? So for example, you are designing for a new family that just had a baby. For a family like that, I'm not going to be buying decor pieces or large art pieces or sculptures that are easily breakable, because I know that in the next couple of months they're going to be having a toddler that's going to be crawling around this space. I mean, let's put aesthetics aside. There's a serious danger that is posed to that baby if you are doing dainty things and things that can cut the baby and all sorts of things. So functionality or the function of the space plays a key role in how you put up a space together, because there are so many ways you can go about things. If you can just take a minute, just pause and say, okay, I want this space to work nice. I want it to look beautiful as well. What are the things that I can do, and what are the things that I cannot do to make sure that, okay, it balances out well? So yeah, I was going to give more examples, but as we continue.
And you see, the reason why I'm literally hugging you air hug is from last year.
Mm-hmm.
I always say this. From the first guest we had was a realtor, Lillian.
Mm-hmm.
All the way we've had lawyers in, we've had cement companies in. Who haven't we had?
Mm-hmm.
And they have all said, even their product and service, they always say the function is more important, because if you follow a aesthetic, you're going to do trend before you realize you are doing trend.
Yeah.
And as for the trend, it will come and go.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people with some kind of chairs,
Mm-hmm.
those chairs with the silver, gold looking.
Mm-hmm.
Now that trend is gone, but the chairs are in your house.
Yeah. And then what do you do with them?
What do you do with them?
What do you do with them? So most of the time when we have clients come in and they want to, let's say, remodel their space, for example, and they've seen something that's trending on social media. There was a time just last year or last 2 years, these wood panels became a major thing. And you'd have people reaching out to you and saying, I want to do the panels, I want to do the panels, I want to do the panels. And for me, I typically want to meet you and find out what exactly is your style, what exactly are your tastes and preferences. So I can say that, okay, yes, the panel works for you now, or maybe it's nice for you now because everybody is doing it now. But can I lead you in this direction, which is more timeless, which is more beautiful? Maybe in your eyes may not be more beautiful now, but when we execute it will be more beautiful and timeless. So that when someone walks into your space, they don't see your panel from 2024 or 2023 and know that, oh, you did these panels in 2023 and 2024 because in 2024 it was such a big thing. Why don't we do maybe some casting or something with cement or something sculpturally beautiful where it is timeless, and someone can come into your space and they cannot guess whether you did it in the 90s or you did it in the 2000s or you did it in the in the 80s. So usually that's what I typically like to guide clients towards, timelessness as opposed to trends and just aesthetics that are for a period of time.
Please, you're coming back on this show, right?
I'm just being informed.
I'm telling you, so that's this one. When I call you, please. I really appreciate everything, the honesty, because I think we've reached a point where we need to stop and, this is bougie. No. We are growing up, right? I would say we are the ones who are buying houses. We're the ones who are leasing. We're the ones building families. Yeah. So we need to tell ourselves the truth and do the according to things, and not come and say, this. No. We shouldn't be doing that. I really appreciate your honesty in all of this. And furniture selection. Let's go back to special. Furniture selection is a very difficult thing. I know it can be no, but I say difficult because we're looking at so many things. We're looking at size, we're looking at price, we're looking at who is going to use it and all of that. When you have to choose furniture for, say, a 2-bedroom space, and I say 2-bedroom because that's what most of us tend to rent out. Let's start with living room. Let's use special. What's run through your mind?
So with regard to furniture, so I'm sure you're talking about the living room space. Living room space specific. So in a 2-bedroom space, it's small but it's quite big. So it could be that you're designing for yourself as an individual, or you could be designing for a small family. Typically, if the space is quite sizable, the spaces in special gardens, for example, are quite spacious. We've designed 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms, and they're quite spacious. So typically, we are looking for a beautiful 3-seater. It doesn't have to be. I know people like the traditional sets because that's what we are used to. From if you're an 80s baby or a 90s baby, very bulky, and the full set. So you have the 3-seater, the 2-seater, and the 2 singles, right? So most times people are used to that setup, but maybe the space cannot accommodate, a 7-seater set of furniture. Typically, what I like to look for is a nice, beautiful, neutral colored. So when I say neutral colored, like a gray, a beige, or a greige, or any color that is subtle that matches a space, is toned down, like I was saying earlier. And then you can pair that with an armchair or an accent chair, or maybe another accent piece, another accent chair. So typically that's what we'll do for a 2-bedroom space, because we know that maximum you're going to be having 4 people staying there. So if 3 people are in the couch and then you have one more person on a sofa, an armchair or something like that, then it balances out. So you can have an armchair on one side and another armchair on the other side. So those are the considerations for typically a 2-bedroom space. A beautiful 3-seater space. If it's just even you living in that space, and it can be your couch, it can be your, your little nap area when you don't want to be your bedroom and all of that stuff. So yeah, those are the considerations. In terms of who's going to use the space, like I just mentioned, if it's going to be a place where maybe sometimes you just want to curl up in and read a book, then you want it to be as comfortable as possible. But then that is where our discussion earlier about functionality and aesthetics also comes in. We want to focus on functionality, we want to focus on comfort, but we don't want to go all the way on comfort and then miss out on aesthetics as well, because when you are putting your space together, you also want to come into a space where every time you come in, that's what I tell people, we want to put up spaces for you that when you come in, you are excited to come in, like you find yourself saying, yes, I am home. Like you want to stay in the space. Like when you come into your space, you want to feel like, indeed I am home. So just making sure that yes, it's functional, yes, it's comfortable, but also in aesthetics, it's also there. And then there's so many different considerations. Usually when it comes to picking a sofa, especially for other people, when we are designing for clients, that's one of the hardest, because so much hinges on it. So much hinges on it. It plays out. If it's too big, then it swallows up the space. If it's too small, then it feels teeny tiny. If the colors are off, then it's not matching with the curtains, it's not matching with the painting that we picked, it's not matching with so much. The sofa is just one piece of furniture, but trust me, I can go round and round and round. Thankfully now we're sourcing our furniture from outside, so we're solving that problem. We pick exactly what we want. But but a couple of years ago it was such a headache, like constantly running around and looking for the right sofa, because you're looking for so many things that have to tick the box, and sometimes you may get 2 out of 5 things you're looking for, or 2 out of 7 things you're looking for. So yes, the sofa is very important, but just think comfort, think functionality, think aesthetics, and you should be fine.
Next best space, bedroom.
Right.
What happens in the bedroom?
What happens in the bedroom? When we are putting together a bedroom space, for me, same as the living area, I want you to come to your bedroom and feel like, yes, I'm home. Like, I really want to curl in this bed and sleep. There have been times where we've actually done spaces for people, and then when we usually wrap up maybe in the night, and when we're leaving the space, I'm like, I wish I would. No, I don't. But I'm like, I wish this was my house. I wish this was my home. But thankfully, I've made up my space nicely, so I'm happy to go home as well. But then there's been times where I'm doing people's space, and I'm like, yeah, I want to live in this space. So that's essentially what we want to do, to create a bedroom that you come to and then you're like, yes, I can really see myself closing the curtains. So of course, in your bedroom, we typically want to do blackouts, blackout curtains, so that whether it's daytime or whatever time it is, you have the coziness, you don't have the sun streaming through your bedroom. So that's done. And then your mattress is right, the bedding is right.
Please repeat the mattress. Let people understand that when we are saying buy memory foam or buy orthopedic, but we want it to feel a certain way, we're not trying to rip them off. Please let them understand that.
I mean, it's just a better experience. Like, you travel and you go to hotels and you don't even want, it's breakfast time, you don't even want to come out of your bed. You want to melt inside the bed because the bedding is just right. So we try to replicate that for our clients as well. So we are getting the nice mattresses and my nice mattress topper, the memory foam pillow that you can just just creating experiences that they love. So I believe that that's where our earlier conversation comes in again. It's not just about aesthetics. It's about how the space feels. It's about how you interact with the space. So for the bedroom, how are you even interacting with something as little as your pillow? How does the pillow feel under your neck? how does your mattress feel? How do the beddings feel? Like, even me living in my house, I know the bed sheets that I like and the bed sheets I don't like. So when people are talking about, X thread count and this thread count, there's a reason for that. Because there are some that are breathable, some that have a cooling effect. There are some that there's just something. So I like to go into like the little details, and it comes together to make everything just a great experience for everyone. Yeah.
She's definitely coming back. Because we are like people like this. Straight shooter. There's no ambiguity.
No.
I mean, straight shooter.
That's
I
it.
like that.
Thank you.
Kitchen.
Okay.
Let's step into the kitchen. Ghanaians now, we have this open plan fascination. It's nice, but like you, I tend to look like this when people come. Now be open kitchen. I'm like, if you are doing okro soup and banku, open kitchen, are you sure you want in your apartment? What's your view on that?
So this open kitchen conversation, well, I would recommend an open kitchen for you if you are going to have a second kitchen.
Tell them.
So now what developers typically do, or what would usually recommend, is that if you're going to do an open kitchen, you know that you like your Kobe, you like your momone. And if you're going to do an open kitchen, and you're going to be cooking all those things, then you are going to be affecting your sofa and your curtains. And guys, your rugs, all those things absorb smells terribly. It doesn't matter that you have what's called an extractor over there.
It doesn't do anything.
I mean, it does something a little, but then it's still, so the kind of foods that we cook in Ghana, if you're going to have only one kitchen, I would strongly advise that if it's going to be just one kitchen, then you screen it off. So I had to advise a couple recently who are building their house, and initially it was an open kitchen plan, and the space is already there. They had already started construction. I said, why not put a glass screen over there? The kitchen was going to be air conditioned anyway. So they have an air conditioned kitchen, they have an extractor, and put a glass screen over there. So if it's a case of you want to be seeing your wife while she's cooking in the kitchen, you have the glass screen, you can still be seeing her through the glass screen, but whatever food and things that she's cooking stays in the kitchen and doesn't affect you. So there are ways to go about it. If you still feel like you want an open kitchen, why don't we compromise a bit? Why don't you put a glass screen over there so that the smells can stay out, but you can still see, your family or your wife when they're in the kitchen? So there are ways to go about it. But if you insist on having a pure open kitchen, I would advise that have a secondary kitchen where you can do all the, the hardcore, hard duty kind of cooking, and that should solve the problem.
Okay. Once again, you are listening to Crystal Esquire. She went to law school, which is good, because I'm sure the edge you have over everybody, or most of you, is that when the contracts come, before she steps on your sides, if you don't give her contract and give her terms and conditions, and she sees the first check, she'll come. She didn't say that, so please.
I'll come, please.
She'll come, please. I beg you. These days, I've seen also that we are doing a bit of big windows, panoramic views. We want all, and I'm very happy about that because you go through Architectural Digest, you see people's nice homes, and you come here and the windows are
tiny windows
and all of that. How do we design around big windows? Window dressing is a thing that we think, okay, the window is big, we just put the voile there, we just put 2 big curtains by the side and we are done. But I think there's more to window dressing. We can have window seats, and I'm saying this already, but
right. So first of all, going back to what you were saying earlier, I totally love the fact that now we have developers and contractors and architects who are designing with our climate in mind, because I believe that in decades gone by or in years gone by, you'd have spaces where it's a really small window, not too big. It's just like, I don't know what they're trying to save up on costs. I don't know what it is, but it wasn't ideal. So I'm really happy to see the trend where people are doing all these panoramic windows and these large windows. I love it because we have so much sunlight here in Ghana, and I believe that we should take advantage of it as much as possible. If you don't like the sunlight maybe in your face early in the morning, you can always have your curtains to block it out. So you are asking how we design around such large windows. Yeah. Of course, in such a case, your curtain naturally, or the regular, whether it's a small window or a big window, it's a big decor piece. So people think, oh, it's just a matter of covering your window. Oh, I like this curtain, let me put it there. But for me, the curtain selection process is a bit more different for me. So the function, so if it's a bedroom, like you're saying, you want to block out the sunlight. But then I'm also thinking, if you want the person to live their luxe life, if you want the person to live their, their beautiful life, when they wake up and they are staring at the curtains, what is it giving them? Yeah. Well, so sometimes you cannot get up and touch the fabric, but you can feel the texture from maybe when you're in your bed or something like that. So we are looking at the texture of the fabric of the curtain, if it's a nice suede or has a little bit of padding here and there, even though it's mellow and it's not too much in your face. So those are the things. And right by the window, it can be that if the window is something that opens outside, so it's a screen door, for example, then you have your porch space where you can put some seating, you can put a lot of plants out there, so that when you draw your curtains, maybe you're even in your bed and it's automated curtains, so once you draw your curtains, you are seeing some beautiful plants out there. In the instance where it is not a doorway, it's not a screen door, but it's just windows, of course you can also put, I like little nooks, I like to create little nooks like that, like a reading nook where you can put a single chair or maybe two chairs facing each other that look outside the window, hoping that you have a beautiful view outside, so you can have a little seating area, some magazines on the side, or maybe if you're someone who likes books, you can put the books on the side, some plants, a few decor pieces, a vignette here and there, and then you're good to go. So just think about your large windows as a beautiful blank canvas that can be, there's so many ways you can go about it. Make the curtain drama, not drama in terms of like out of, over the top, but drama in terms of texture, in terms of color, in terms of feel. Just make it very nice and let it have a very nice feel to it. And then you'll be happy. When you wake up in the morning, you see your curtains and you're like, I'm glad I chose these curtains. Yeah.
Yeah. The what is it? The questions are just flowing in my head based on the truth you are telling me. When you said drama, lights, from chandeliers to pendant lights to the lamps and all of that. Some people think that those things are bougie, drama and all of that. But I'm like, no, these are things which have gone into research to see that it helps calm you, the person, and you can find these things within your budget range. You don't have to go and buy $1,000 pendant lights because, you can find maybe $200, $300. Hey, I'm using dollars. Please, finance minister, forgive me. You can buy 500 CDs, pendant lights.
500 CDs. Okay.
It's $100,
It's fine. You're not writing any invoices in dollars, so it's fine.
You can find like proper, according to your budget.
Yeah.
Lighting is also a big thing.
It is.
Yes, please run us through it.
Okay, so lighting indeed is a big thing. Again, starting from the foundation, lighting, first of all, you're looking at what's the space going to be used for before we think of aesthetics. But lighting can play two functions. It can play the function of, okay, it's for functional purposes. And then it's also for, creating the mood, creating the kind of ambience that you want. So typically, there are certain spaces where you don't want, we have white light, we have warm light, we have, the amber light. You don't want lights that are so low or so dim. For example, I'll give you a typical example. If you're designing for a study, for example, or even a kitchen, let's use a kitchen, you do not want lights that are so low that you cannot see what you're doing in the kitchen, because ideally or typically the kitchen is a workspace. It's a space where you are typically cooking or doing stuff, so you want to be able to have some lights that you can see. The good thing nowadays is that most of these spotlights that you have different switches. So they give you the warm lights, they give you the mix of the two, and then they give you the bright white light. So then if you feel like, okay, most of the time, people barely chill in the kitchen unless maybe you have an island, or it's a place where you're cooking and you have friends and
you put a TV there or something.
Yeah. So then if that's the case, then you can switch the lights in between those ranges. Yeah. So there's that. When it comes to spaces like your bedroom, you typically want to have different options. So you want to have the bright lights for when you maybe are sitting in your room and you're reading, or a reading lamp right next to your bed. Or nowadays we have all these pendant lights that hang from the ceiling, and you can just have that light on, possibly or most likely remote controlled, so that if you are reading your bed, you can just have that light on, and then when you're done, you can turn it off. And then you can have the option of other spotlights with different, functions, so the warm light, the bright light, and then the in-between. And then you can also have nice pendant lights. The pendant lights are typically for decoration, but then of course functionality as well. So they look nice, but then they're also a source of light, and then other spaces as well. So ideally, what lighting should do for you is you should have a mix. It shouldn't be just, one source of light in the space, ideally in the ideal or best case scenario. So you should have the lights where it's okay, I really need light in the space, that we are not playing over here. And then you turn on your serious lights, which is usually maybe your warm whites. Yeah. And then your other lights can come, maybe you come into your bedroom and you just want the lights a bit mellow. So you can turn on, your lamp, or you can turn on the pendant lights or the chandelier that you have there, and it's giving you like a bit of warmth, it's giving you the kind of vibe, or the kind of ambience that you want in the space. So typically lights play those functions. They help you a lot. So if you just have this, maybe if it depends on how you're feeling. If you're feeling a certain type of way and you don't have the lights to match your mood, then it's a problem.
It's a very big problem. Very, very, very big problem. She's coming back. She doesn't know how I'm going to harass her from next month.
I beg.
No, we'll relax for her vows day. Then after. And I know where to find her. So
we'll holler.
Pressure.
We'll holler it.
Plants. When I entered Special Gardens, I saw the intentional landscaping of plants outside. I know there are definitely plants inside. These big planters I see these days, I love them so much. They are beautiful.
I know.
What are your thoughts on that as well?
I mean, I am a plant, I'm a plant girly. So give me plants any day. Give me plants any day. And it's such a beautiful thing to see. It's such a beautiful thing to see that generally in Ghana, most of our spaces, so when you're going through, we're here in East Legon, if you're going through most of the residential spaces here in East Legon, you see a lot of landscape, you see a lot of trees. It actually came as a culture shock to me when I went to our neighbor. I won't mention any country.
We don't want trouble.
I won't mention any country's name, but I went to just our neighboring country. They are not our neighbors really, but we are always bantering with them and everything. Like we cross the countries in between and we are bantering with each other. And I went to this country and I was just in shock, because the things that we take for granted, like, okay, you should have a little patch of grass and, some trees, wasn't there. So it's a good thing that we do here in Ghana, and I believe that we should keep it up. Yeah, so back to Special Gardens. As the name suggests, it's supposed to be a garden oasis. You're supposed to enter Special Gardens and feel like, oh my God, this is a place I want to live. I remember we were doing a viewing with a family, and they came with their little son. And when it was time to leave, he was like, no, he wants to live here. This is where he wants to live, right? So that's the space that we are trying to create. And that's what plants do to a space. Naturally, elements of nature give some form of peace, some calm into the space. Of course, you're enjoying the breeze as well. And when the sun is out and it's so sunny, you have, the plants, the green and everything. It just calms you, it just really centers you. So the use of plants in a space, very ideal. I tend to advise clients, when we're getting to that stage, I tend to say, oh, let's do some plants. And they're like, oh, I don't have a green thumb. I'm like, yeah, let's just put a few there. And in the case where you cannot take care of plants, sometimes, of course, if we are decorating for, let's say, an Airbnb or a space where people will not be living too much, we'll typically do artificial plants, which may not give the same level of, zen and calm, but then they do something. So what if maybe plants will give you the 100% effect I believe that real plants will give the 100% effect. I believe that artificial plants can give you like maybe the 80%. Sometimes you don't even see that the plant is artificial.
Yeah,
so
these days,
some of the faux plants are really good. Yeah. So yeah, just bring in some plants into your space. Even your tiny desk in your office, Just, I remember when I moved into my office and I was telling my team that I need some life. And one day I just went out of the office, just went to bring in some plants because it's just really centering. It's just, just you having a plant in the corner somewhere or somewhere on your desk somewhere. It just really brings you back to nature and brings you to your center. So that's really important in your space.
Oh, that's so good. Once again, this show would be repeated this particular Sunday at 5 p.m. If you have missed, don't worry. Please, 5 p.m., just sit by the radio and listen to her. She's speaking the gospel of proper interior design. I'm not hyping her. You see, I always say, if the person is not correct, I won't bring the person, right? I always try to look at the person's work. I always try to see the person's scope in terms of projects before I bring the person or I bring the company. So if you haven't seen anybody here, the person is not correct, and I only bring correct people. Well, it's true. This one, I'm standing on business on this one. Standing on business, one thing that people tend to run away from is proper budgeting when it comes to purchase of furniture. Crystal, I want you to let people understand in, say, 3-4 minutes. Budgeting is the core of everything. You don't finish building the house and say that, oh, my money is finished, so I have a few coins, let's go and buy a chair or a table. You will never stay in the space. I tell people, at the time that the architect gives you the drawing, you've gone for your permits, everything, that is when you even have to start visualizing. If nothing at all, let the architect even bring the interior person and let the person be on that team so that you start seeing what it is. Yes. People say I talk too much, but you please tell me. Please confirm or deny.
Yes. No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I tell clients all the time. So here at Serenity Africa, what we do is we are an end-to-end service company. So, of course, with my background with the legal aspects as well. So we help people with the due diligence. You buy your land, the architects come to me, we help with the drawing stage and stuff like that. And then we go all the way to, finishing the space. So right from buying your land to finishing, you can just leave it all to us and we'll get it sorted for you. And right from the beginning, while we are we are looking for permits or we are going to the municipal assembly to get the permits to start putting up the structure, I want to push it in there and say, let's start talking the interior space. Let's start talking, how do you want your space to feel like? How do you want to interact with the space? Because I believe there is no point in spending so much money buying land, especially if you're buying land in East Legon, for example, so expensive, putting up an expensive building, and then when you finish, you can't interact with the space properly. And what I mean by the expression, you cannot interact with the space properly, is you, like what you were saying earlier, somebody just goes into the store, just goes to buy a piece of furniture, just goes to buy, little dainty things here and there. And it's like, it just feels like an afterthought. If you've gone through so much work, because the design process, it all comes from all the way down to even you picking your location and where you want to live.
Preach.
Preach. All the way down to you picking your location and where you want to live. So you've been intentional with your location. Yeah. You've been intentional with the kind of design or the kind of building you want to live in. Preach. Why are you now being, very, for want of a better expression, just standoffish with the kind of space that you want, stingy with the space that you're going to be living in? So what? The location is great, the design, the exterior architecture is great, and the inside is just what? Okay, at this point, we've done enough. No. If you're going to be intentional from the very beginning, let's be intentional from point A all the way to point Z. So absolutely, bring your interior designer in. So I'm working on projects where right from the purchase of the land, like I said earlier, and then we are going through the architectural drawings together. So the architect is coming up with designs, and I'm saying, I don't see how this works, and I don't understand how this flows and everything. Yeah. And then we are taking all these considerations and we are putting it together, doing the drawings. Then we go and get the permits. Then we put the building together, and it's like, okay, now we're right there from the beginning. So now let's make this space your dream home. Let's make this space a space that I keep on saying you want to come back to, where you enter right from your foyer, you enter your living room, you enter your bedroom, and like, I did a good thing with this space. I did a good thing with my home. So in terms of budgeting, it really depends on your preferences. It really depends on your preferences. So once people are showing, oh, this is what I like, this is what I like, this is what I like. And then sometimes I tell them, okay, if this is what you like, I would suggest that let's put everything together. Let's bulk buy. Nowadays, we can do all these bulk buyings from overbroad or overseas or abroad or stuff like that. So then you can just bulk buy everything, determine the specifications, determine everything, the quality and everything that you want. We can go ahead, even travel, check it for you and make sure that everything is okay and put it together. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you have intentionally crafted a space that you love.
I'm interrupting her. She used the word intentionally. Oh, Crystal is coming back. She doesn't know the pit she has put herself in. Like, she doesn't give you wrong answers. She used keyword intentionally. Oh, Chris, continue for me.
You have intentionally crafted the space that you want to live in, and tying back to a point that we made earlier about creating timeless spaces. So when you have gone through that whole process, maybe it takes you a year, maybe it takes you 2 years from, buying the land all the way to building and moving in. But then you realize that 24 months that it took, it's worth 10 years or 20 years or maybe just little refreshments here and there, and it's a space that you genuinely love over the years or over the decades. So that's it.
Oh, Crystal. You make me happy. I see. Thank you. As we have, I'm left with 8 minutes. What's the meaning of that? What's the meaning? But now when I'm happy, Crystal is coming back. Okay, so there's something that we are, we haven't really touched on under 2 minutes. I know now I'm rushing you, but under 2 minutes. Problem. Kids' bedrooms, right? We kind of, afterthought, but it's not. No. Please, your thoughts.
Okay, fantastic. So if you're designing for kids, fun fact, Serenity actually started out doing majorly baby rooms and kids rooms and stuff like that. So we have some depth of knowledge in that aspect. So the same thing, the same way you want to enter your space and be excited, I want your child to enter their bedroom and feel like this is my world. Yes. This is my space. Yes. So in the case where they don't have maybe a living room to themselves or they don't have a playroom to themselves, let them have a room where they can be in and say, this is my space. So for little kids or toddlers and stuff like that, typically when in the past or now we don't do too many baby bedrooms, but we'll typically put on characters or toddler bedrooms, characters that they love or things that they love. If your child is maybe a teenager or a teenager and they love to read, then you are filling the space with a reading nook or things that they love to do. If maybe you're doing a desk, but then the desk that feels like them, so you're adding art pieces or decor pieces that just speaks to them, that builds curiosity, that builds interaction as well. So just creating spaces that feel like, that make your children feel like this is my world, and it's not the space where maybe it was a storage space before the baby came in. It was a storage space before the baby came in. So you've cleared out all the stuff, but then there's still some big adult bed there. Get them a bed that is suited to their size, suited to their age. And, in the colors that they like, if you feel like maybe too many colors will be overstimulating, you can pick one color, maybe do just an accent wall and do other neutral colors, or bring in the colors or the characters in the sheets that you pick for them, the stab toys that they have on their bed and all of that, or in the carpet as well. We've done, interested in pieces like that or interested in spaces like that. So just bring in different elements into the space that the way when you enter your house, you are happy and excited because this feels like you. You also want to do that for your child as well. So they feel like, okay, mommy and daddy really thought of me and they intentionally created a space that I love.
And once you have the kids set up that way, they study better.
Yes. They want to spend time in their room. They want to spend time, we're just handing over a property to a client of ours, and we did the space for the son, and they came for a viewing, and when it was time to leave, he was in his room. He didn't want to leave the house. They haven't even moved in yet, but he's like, he loves it. So we're asking what's his favorite space in the house. It's like his room.
Yes.
Like, he didn't want to leave. So just when they see that, okay, you really thought about me. Okay, you gave me a steady desk. You gave me a sizable desk that is my age appropriate for me. A chair that's age appropriate for me. In the colors I like. I have a little nook here. It's just like they study better, and that's true. That's true.
And I really don't know why we see. Oh, Crystal. Time is almost up, but I want Crystal to give us. I know she said so much and she said a lot, but I know in there somewhere she has something she feels she hasn't touched on. So, if you just tune in again, this is ZED 101.9 FM. As I keep repeating, this program will be telecast again on Sunday. This program is also streaming live on Facebook. It is going to be on the page forever, the ZED 101.9 FM Facebook page. So you can also always go back there and see the full thing, or we just wait till Sunday and get the show again. Your final words, Crystal, before we go. I know you've tagged. I'm not going to ask you any question. You have like more or less 3 minutes. Just give us exactly what is.
Okay, all right. So I'll say that in you doing your DIY and you decorating your space yourself, just take some time to reflect. It's not a matter of just entering the space or going into a showroom and picking out furniture and stuff like that. Just take a little bit of time and decide what is true to me, who am I as a person, what's my personality, and what is true to me, and design a space or create a space that is true to you, that is reflective of your personality. So if you're somebody who is like, going to be reading in your couch and stuff like that, we've said all these things, earlier, so you can go back to the replay and listen to it. And if this feels like a daunting task and you feel like you cannot do this anymore, you can always reach out to us at Serenity Africa, and then we'll totally help you. So check us out.
And what she's saying, I'm not interrupting her, what she's saying is very right. See, we have reached a point where we have to understand that interior designing is an essential service, because you see, once you get a good interior designer, you will get a landscape artist.
Yes.
You would find somebody who installs curtains, because all these other artisans work with us.
Yes.
We are more or less, I always say, yes, we report to maybe the architect, but when you take the architect away, the interior designer is right there. And beneath us, the wealth of network, the wealth of knowledge, because you're looking for a plan. We have a plumber.
I mean, for me, I even studied, so beyond studying interiors as well, I studied project management. And for me, I like to curate my artisans as well. So some of the artisans that I've worked with, or I continue to work with over the years, are people that I've worked with as far back as 8 years ago, 7 years ago. And there are people that, these are people who are excellent at their craft. And one thing I also tell my artisans is that I don't care if you're excellent at your craft if you're not timely or you don't stick to timeline. So these are people that if you're hiring our services, then you know that you're getting people who are excellent at their craft, but also time conscious. When I give you time, I expect that if you say you're going to deliver this in 3 days, I'm going to tell the clients we're going to do it in 4 days, but I expect that you deliver it in 3 days so that we can exceed the client's expectations. So just being able to manage different workers and manage the schedule and manage the workflow and everything, and make everything beautiful. When you come to your site, it's coming from red dirt to something beautiful, and you're like, I'm really happy to be here. Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Krista, she's a lawyer. Esquire. Please, she has is the wig hot?
When you walk through the sun with it. When you walk from the court complex into your, you walk through the sun into your car,
But you cannot address a judge without it.
Oh, yes. Hey, yes, you cannot.
They would kick you out of anyway. Yes. All right. So thank you once again for, you have something you want to say? So thank you once again for tuning into ZED 101.9 FM. This is ZED Decor Live. The programs are not that. They're fantastic programs after this, all the way to the next week, Friday, when another episode of ZED Decor Live comes. Right now we have, I think, the evening drive, and they are already here, and are they staring at me? Yes, they are staring at me. All right. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to Crystal and I. And we'll see you, or I will see you next Friday. But Crystal will see you on Sunday when you hear her again. All right, then. Bye.